Okay, ladies and gentlemen, filming live from the firehouse in North Manchester, Indiana. It's Good Night with Christopher Blue. Now, here's your host, Christopher Blue.
Hello and welcome to Good Night with Christopher Blue. I'm Christopher Blue, and we have a wonderful show for you tonight. Before we continue with the episode, we need to cover Drake's question of the week. Drake?
What's one positive thing you like about yourself?
What is one positive thing that you like about yourself? Put the answer in the comments below. Tonight, we are bringing Reverb back out here to talk about proper uniforms when you're out doing real-life superhero work. So let's get him out here. Reverb, I'm so sorry. Reverb! Hey, bud. Get the Weaver or Reverb shirt. Reverb or Weaver shirt at the merch store. Yeah. Just do it. Hey, Reverb.
Hey.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, how you doing?
Not too bad. I'm excited to talk about this because, let me tell you, when I first started out as a real-life superhero, I did not have a proper uniform whatsoever.
No, you did not.
I
was there.
I think we've talked about it a little bit on the show before, but it was made out of a sweatshirt, sweatpants, and I used a sleeve of another sweatshirt to make me a mask. And
some big goggles.
yeah, some huge goggles. It was not a good uniform. But more importantly, it doesn't even matter what I looked like. It wasn't a practical uniform for what we were wanting to do. And that's, I think, the more important thing that we're going to discuss today. So, I guess leading into that idea, first off, you need to make sure your uniform is appropriate for what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Talk to the side of the mic, not the top.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, for instance, if you are going out and your focus is crime patrol, crime prevention, which I promise we will eventually cover on this show eventually, what would you suggest someone doing this, should wear for their uniform?
Well, definitely think about what crime you're focusing on. Obviously, you're not going to want to immediately jump into trying to fight 3 gang members at once with guns. But no, a good thing would be to focus on what crime you're trying to do, like prevent car burglary or just someone stealing a bike or trying to break into something. So you're not going to need full protection for that. Maybe a helmet or some sort of a head protection and just simple motocross gear, football gear, some good padding to keep you safe from punches or maybe a baseball bat.
Yeah. Exactly. Depending on what it is you are doing, you're going to be wearing something totally different. I know some of the California people, the ex-jail in California, they get in hairier situations. And so they have to wear heavier armor. I believe most of them, I could be wrong, but I believe most of them even wear bulletproof or bullet-resistant armor because of the situations that they potentially can get into. So you have to think about that when designing your uniform. Another type of work, we've talked about litter patrol a couple times on the show. You're not going to need any of that.
Right. No, a simple T-shirt or long sleeve shirt, whichever you prefer, with your logo on it. it would do just as good. That's all you really need for a litter patrol.
That's right. We do when we do litter patrols. We will sometimes wear our basic uniforms with the masks on, but a lot of times we've done litter patrols in our gray mans. And what a gray man is, for those who don't know, it's where you're basically wearing civilian clothes. You're going out, you're doing heroic things, but you're not looking like a superhero. And because you don't really need to dress up as a superhero. It is good. Now, I guess we should have started this whole thing with, why do we wear a uniform to begin with? I think that should have been the introduction to this episode, but we'll go ahead and cover that now. Why do we wear a uniform to begin with?
Oh, well, I do believe Chethiya brought it up on an earlier episode. It's to keep what people saw in their memory. You see someone just handing something out to someone, you're thinking, oh, Bill, that's nice. And then by the end of dinner, you've completely forgotten it. But you're gonna, if you see someone wearing some sort of suit with a mask on, you're gonna get home and you're gonna maybe talk to someone that you're living with, or talk to a friend, or maybe look it up online. Like, what did I just see? Is this a common thing? What's going on now?
Exactly. So even with stuff like litter patrol, you're cleaning up litter on the streets, and I'm sure people pass by people not wearing superhero suits while they're cleaning litter all the time, and no one thinks about it. So even though, no, we don't technically need a uniform, and a lot of times we don't wear a uniform when we're doing it, sometimes it's nice to wear a uniform while doing litter patrols, just to get people to think, wow, yeah, there is so much trash out there. Maybe I should do something about it too.
There's an old inside joke from when Animal and I would just go up by just the two of us, and we'd get people that would drive by or walk by, and they'd be looking at us, and we would just say, yes, we are, because they're thinking, are they crazy, or are they superheroes? And I mean, you got to be a little crazy to.
Right. So the answer to both those questions.
Yes, we are.
Yes, they are. Yes, we are. Yeah. So I feel like we got a little off track, which totally my fault. We do it all the time on this show.
The show is chaos.
This show is chaos. There are no rules. We typically just wear a basic uniform, if anything, to do litter patrols, was the point I was going to get at. Moving on, we've covered crime patrol, we've covered litter patrol. When we're doing homeless outreaches, what kind of uniform would you think is best for if you're doing a homeless outreach?
I would say maybe a just minor protection.
It's kind of in between the two.
Yeah, you don't know what kind of homeless people you're gonna run into, or if it's a camp, you don't know if maybe there's 5 or 6 people that are okay, and then one person that's a little off their rocker. So I would say just minimal protection, and still carry stuff like pepper spray or handcuffs. You don't need to bring your full armory with you.
And obviously, look at your local laws and make sure you know what you are allowed to carry with you. We highly frown upon when we hear a story of someone walking around with a ninja sword and
yes,
and look at your local laws. Make sure you can carry what we are talking about.
I've got 3 swords at home, and not a single one of them I use on patrol at all.
Right, just don't need it. So yeah, that's 3 different kind of uniform. And again, like if you're watching this and you're not even interested in the whole real life superhero thing, but you still want to do good, I mean, I feel like this is still a good episode to kind of keep in mind like what you should be wearing when you're doing this stuff anyway. Pretty much everything we're saying is stuff that's useful, except just don't wear a mask. There
was not a situation, I guess a moment I was doing a crime prevention patrol downtown. I want to say about downtown Lansing. I want to say about 8 or 9 years ago, and I was walking around the college campus, and someone was all like, well, "What are you doing?" And who are you supposed to be? And I explained to them who I was and what I was doing, and they're like, "Well, that's not special. I could do that." And so I just said, "Okay, then do it."
Exactly. Yep.
You don't need to have a special suit or powers to do the good work.
That's right. So we've covered 3 different kinds of uniforms. Are there any other kind of uniforms that you could think of?
Scuba uniform.
Scuba uniform. And I don't know if you were saying that half jokingly or whatnot.
I was.
But honestly, again, think about what you are doing. We've done river cleanups, plenty of times, and typically, we don't wear a uniform when doing that. But let's say you're very secretive about your identity, but you still want to clean the rivers. A scuba suit would be a great way to,
it'll, because even in summers, rivers can be really, really cold, and depending on your health and the kind of person you are, you could still get hypothermia from the water. So scuba suit, keep you warm. I wore big rubber boots that did me no good because we ended up going into very deep water. But still made an attempt.
So definitely be mindful of, and I've said this many times, just be mindful of what you're doing. Speaking of rubber boots, one of my first uniform boot that I bought for my uniform were these big rubber rain boots. And I would wear them for everything. I couldn't run in them. They were a headache to walk in. They were great when it was raining and wet out, but other than that, I should not have been wearing rain boots for uniform boots.
It's a funny story because I remember I was looking for new uniform boots and came across the rain boots that I was wearing, and I was excited. And I sent you a picture and I told you about them, and I was like, "Oh, these are my new uniform boots," and you were like, "Those are going to be awful for running." And so sure enough, I was like, "Well, been working with this guy for a while. I trust his word." So I put them on, and I live across the street from a large empty parking lot, and went out there and went walking, and they were awful. And then I went trying to run, and they were even worse. I was like, okay, so these are not for everyday patrols.
That's right. I'm going to say it one last time. Be mindful of what you are doing, and try to think of what you are wearing to accompany what you are doing. Don't get so caught up on
looks
and stuff like that. Which we weren't planning on talking about this, but I'm going to bring it up because I feel it does sort of relate. Capes, a lot of real life superheroes go the Incredibles route and say no capes. That's the rule. I feel like capes are okay as long as you have a detach mechanism. You had a cape for a long time.
I still have it. I just have no need to really wear it very much. But yeah, it's a simple magnetic detach. So if someone pulls on it too hard during any incident, it's going to come right off. It's not going to yank me back at all. But they're also really good for homeless outreaches and charity events. Because if this person is homeless and they're sitting on the sidewalk, and 4 masked people walk up to them, they're going to be a little worried. And if they see someone in a cape, they're going to be like, okay, I don't know what's going on with this person. They're a little weird. Maybe they got a suit and mask on. Maybe they're thinking they're a superhero or something, so they're not going to be a problem to me. And it can help them feel a little bit more at ease.
Right. A bunch of people in masks, there's cause for alarm. A bunch of people in masks and one of them's wearing a cape, you're more apt to laugh at that and definitely be more at ease. So while capes might not be the most practical thing, they are definitely helpful in de-escalation, and there is a place for capes, I feel, as long as you do them right. Don't let them be attached, because not even necessarily someone grabbing it and pulling it, but like you're walking and it gets snagged on something. You don't want to, choke yourself or
I was working at a retail store a couple years ago, and they were doing something for the store. I don't know if it was a promotional thing or I don't know. But they did have capes for employees to wear if they wanted to. And I was like, I already wear one, so this could be fun. So I took one and I put it on and I wore it for my shift. And it was getting snagged on so much. I'd go to turn the corner and it would get caught on the shelves, or it'd get caught in the door. And it was not special like my cape. It would not just come off. So I'd be walking in and I'd get pulled back.
Yeah. So I feel like we've covered everything we can when it comes to uniforms, unless you have another thing to discuss.
Gel insoles and baby powder. They are your friend.
Gel insoles and baby powder are your friend. Well, that's our show. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Don't forget to ring that bell so you get notified whenever we upload new content. Until next time, good night, my sweet baby angels. I'll see you tomorrow.